Hi, this is Christy Burns from thedreamangels.com. I'm going to talk to you today about organizing your house for the purposes of reducing your cleaning time, keeping it neater, and for the purposes of being able to use your space in as many ways as possible. We live on one level of a house, so the space we have is equivalent to a ranch-style home. We lived in a condo 4 years ago and an apartment 3 years ago, so a lot of the methods I'm talking about today were cultivated by me when we had even smaller spaces. I have two rooms I'm going to show you today. They're traditionally known as the dining room and the kitchen. However, I'm going to show you how we can use them for many more activities and still keep them neat and organized. I run a business from home, I homeschool my children part-time, and we also need to use the house to eat, sleep, and live in. The first room I'm going to show you is our dining room. Our dining room is also our art room, the main lesson room, the exhibit room, the baking room, and the entertaining room. Right now it is set up as our art room. The art supplies are all put away in the cupboards, and some baskets are sitting on top of the cupboards. These baskets have in them various kinds of paper. We have some different kinds of scissors, some various art books, and paintbrushes, pencils, etc. On the other side of the room, we have what's called a Buddha board, where you can do Chinese brush painting using water. Underneath the Buddha board, we have drawers filled with felt, with sewing supplies, with stamps, and with many other things we might use. For smaller items such as beads and ribbon and glue, we use these small drawers, which my son labeled with a handheld labeler, and we have two sets of these, so we never have any little tiny things laying around the house. If I ever find a little tiny thing without a home, we make sure that we create a drawer for it. So we have drawers for everything from beads to cinnamon, cloves, staples, wood pieces, and various other things. We have a woodworking table, which is always set up for woodworking. Right now I have the drawer open to show you that all of our woodworking supplies are kept inside the drawer. We have a basket which has some unfinished woodworking projects in it. And this table is used for all of our sawing, drilling, sanding, and other woodworking purposes. However, once we close the drawer and take off the basket, I can put a table runner on top of it, put a couple decorations or photos on top, and it's good for entertaining. We have another shelf that holds some more Stockmar crayons on top and more tiny things underneath. We have a small vacuum cleaner, which helps keep the place neater, because if you have to go to another room for the vacuum cleaner, oftentimes the children won't do that. So this is how our room is set up as the art room. We have one drawer that's filled even just with little felt pieces. And even underneath the shelves, I've taken the space to use it for more storage by placing baskets under there. When we use the room as a lesson room, I remove the grapes from the main table. I place 2 cups of pencils and erasers and various things in the middle of the table. And we can then place our paper or books on the table, and we can use the table as a lesson table. When we use the room to entertain, I remove all the baskets from the shelves so the art supplies are not visible. I put a tablecloth on the table to cover up our paint and our pencil marks, and then I usually place some flowers and table runners on top of all the surfaces. And this takes me about 5 to 10 minutes to do, and then the room is transformed into a dining room or an entertainment room. When we use the room as our baking room, we get out our little wooden breadboards and some tools. We get our bread dough out, and we shape our dough, and then we cook it, bake it in the kitchen, which is right next door. The second room I want to share with you is what we call our wicker room. This room is traditionally part of the kitchen. We have a very thin and small kitchen, and this is the little nook at the end that you're supposed to put the dining room table and chairs in. Instead, we filled it with wicker chairs and cushions to make it a little cozier. And this room is where we do all of our handiwork. It is also where I greet my clients for herbal consulting and where I do all of my computer work. This room is also where we do our family healing and herbal studies, and this is also what we call our permanent exhibit room. This is everyone's favorite room to gather in for sitting or chatting or reading, and many times the children will also bring a wooden fold-up table into the room so they can do art projects or writing on it. We also have a few clipboards that they use to do their work on so they can sit on the chair with the clipboard on their lap. So really we could just use this room instead of having an art and main lesson room at all. With the fold-up tables and the clipboards and the sunny coziness in the space, it is really the room we spend most of our time in. I will show you around the room quickly and then I'll tell you how it transforms for our tasks. This is where we keep our handiwork materials for knitting and sewing. I have a see-through cupboard here so that you can see the colors or you can see what's inside the cupboards. We also have a basket up here which contains a lot of yarn, and we have numerous baskets around the room that contain more yarn. We keep the projects we're working on in our own handiwork basket. We keep the instructions up here so that they're easy to find, whatever project we're working on. And we each have our own handiwork basket. There's my basket, which is the green one, and Sophie's basket, which is the blue one. And we're both working on unicorns right now. On the small wall are two of my photographs, which I rotate periodically to make a rotating exhibit. I like to share my own artwork with the children. And each of the children on the large wall has their own exhibit area as well. To make things easier, I gave everybody 5 frames, and whatever work they want to exhibit, they can put inside of the frames whenever they're ready to. The room is set up right now to do handiwork and reading in. Everything's set out, the handiwork baskets are set out, the yarn is set out, the sun is coming through, and everything's cleaned up so that we can work on our handiwork. If I have a client coming over for herbal consulting, I simply remove the handiwork baskets from the table and I place a basket that has in it some herbal information and my business cards. I place a footstool in front of the comfortable chair, and this is where we do the reflexology treatments. And right behind the chair on the shelf there are numerous books about herbal healing and natural healing. We also use this room for family healing. If anyone needs a reflexology treatment, we bring out the footstool and they receive it in this room. If anyone needs an herb for a cut or a bruise or to help them sleep better or feel better, they can also find everything they need in this room. The drawers have been labeled, and I've been teaching my children since they were younger how to use the herbs. So most of the time they just go to the appropriate drawer and take the herbs that they need. But sometimes they can ask me, and this also makes it easier for me to tell them, well, you just get that herb out of this or that drawer, rather than before we had all of our herbs and remedies in a cupboard and they were always getting mixed up once we had them in a basket and they were also disorganized. So we have all of the herbs, Band-Aids, even fingernail clippers down here in a different drawer. And then on the top we have all the homeopathic remedies. And so this makes all of the healing for the family easy to find in one room as well. In conclusion, the key to keeping your space organized is the traditional everything has a place and everything in its place. When this place is a mess in this room, all I need to do is gather up what's on the floor and put it in the little drawers that it belongs into, or the baskets that it belongs into. The key to keeping the space flexible for multi-purpose usage is to use things such as baskets that you can move around or carry from room to room, to use furniture that's movable, such as the wooden clipboard or the little wooden fold-up table, or even footstools. If you can use movable items in your room and have a place for everything in your room, then your room can function on many different levels, and it can also stay neat and organized. Thank you.